welcome to the Liverpool Community Podcast with me, your host, Phil Beale. And today we've got an amazing person that's working out in the community, somebody like that we thought you'd like. We've loved to hear about all the work that she's doing, and we think you'll find it interesting too. So please welcome today, we've got Jess Trigg from the Positivity Club CIC.
Hello.
Hello, Jess, and welcome here.
Thank you very much.
To the big condo studios. And you found it okay in the end anyway?
I did do, yeah. Luckily I had the kindness of someone, a scouser, that helped guide me to the right way, which kind of fits in with what we're going to talk about. So
absolutely, yeah. A bit of kindness.
You can't beat Liverpool for kindness.
No, I agree with that. Obviously, I'm an immigrant myself. But
well, I am a little bit as well.
Well, yeah,
over the water.
because you're from over the water. Yeah. I didn't realise there was a bit of a schism there with over the water.
I've come over the water today.
And you obviously, your passport's still valid then, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a relief anyway. So tell us about Positivity Club CIC, because that's the big news, isn't it?
Yeah, so just recently, after a while, registered as a CIC.
Fabulous.
So Positivity Club is all about supporting and teaching children about mental health.
Fantastic.
As something I really struggled with as a child, which I'll talk a little bit again later.
Yeah, please do, yeah.
The whole vision behind Positivity Club is just to make mental health a normal conversation for kids and make it fun. It doesn't have to be the taboo that we grew up with. It doesn't have to be a scary conversation and something that we don't like to talk about, because it can be talked about and it's okay to feel
that's a great
however
ethos.
you feel. We talk about a range of emotions in Positivity Club. We deal with all sorts of different things. We talk about resilience. We talk about not giving up, bouncing back, trying again, how we're all different and celebrating our differences and our strengths and our weaknesses as well. I basically just want to teach children that they are enough as they are, and
Amazing.
They can achieve whatever they want to achieve, and talk openly about how they feel along the way. We teach kindness a lot. I think it's a really important lesson, and mainly to be kind to ourselves, which is something I think in our society we struggle with.
Yes.
A lot of the time I'm teaching the children and I'm thinking, right, I need to take note of this for myself. I need to practice what I preach, because we're not always so kind to ourselves and we can fall into a trap of being quite critical. So it's lessons like that we do in Positivity Club, and it's growth mindset we do gratitude, but we do kind of like arts and crafts activities, we do physical activities.
Right.
We do all sorts of different themes really, and we kind of take note of what comes up with the children. So a lot of the things that are coming up at the moment is friendships.
Right.
Yeah, and self-confidence and worrying about putting their hands up in class or what if I get it wrong.
Yeah.
Those anxieties that come up and not being able to communicate with the friends how they feel, feeling left out, things like that.
Yeah.
Jealousy, it's a normal emotion that people don't like to admit
Yeah,
to, but
absolutely.
It's human nature.
That's
Anger
right.
is another one.
That's right.
And we have found that since lockdown and COVID that those communication struggles have arisen as well.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I think that a lot of them were there already, but I think it's just highlighted and children didn't get as much chance to socialise, so we are seeing those differences now as well. Right, yeah. But we just try and do it in a fun way, really, because we're not in school when we come to Positivity Club, and we want them to remember what we teach as well, so making it more fun and sensory and active,
helps
they're more likely to remember it.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. So do you meet weekly, do you?
Yeah, so we do Saturday mornings at the moment.
Whereabouts?
In West Kirby.
Yeah.
There's a place called Cub and Calf, which is fabulous. It's a parent hub. And it's a little soft play cafe for like 0 to 5s, but they have a community room, which I use on a Saturday morning. And they do lots of community events there as well. So they have like breastfeeding support groups. They have like a lot of maternity groups and things like that, focusing on mum's mental health or family's mental health after having a baby. There's all sorts, so it's good to check them out on socials as well.
Absolutely, yeah, we'll do that.
Great.
Yeah, but you say so you meet weekly, and how many kids are coming along at the moment, roughly?
So roughly, the most we've had is 20 a week, which is great, which is busy.
How many of you are there?
Well, there's me and a little group of volunteers.
Shout out the volunteers.
Shout out to my lovely volunteers.
Absolutely, yeah.
And luckily,
so that's crowd control at 20, surely.
Yeah, it is. And do you know what can be difficult sometimes is making sure there's enough going on to suit every child.
Yeah.
Because one activity, some of them will love it and others won't.
Yeah.
Or some of them will do it for a couple of seconds. It seems like quickly do it and run away. Whereas other children will want to stay at the craft activity or whatever it is we've got out for a long time. So what I've had to really do is look at the children that are coming and try and make it as personalised as possible to them. Because we do have children with additional needs. So if we've got children that have got ADHD or autism, some things are not going to suit them. So we have to really think outside the box and make sure that there's a really good range of activities to do. And if they don't want to sit still for too long, then we get up and out. And we there's like a little space outside, and there's a park next door as well, which we've accessed as well. So it's tailoring it to those individual needs really, and making sure that we're still getting the message across.
So you're theming each week, are you?
Yeah.
That's cool. So just give us another example of
so this week we're doing growth mindset and resilience.
Growth mindset.
Growth mindset.
Tell us a bit about that then.
Okay, so growth mindset is all about the way we talk to ourselves, really. So we teach children that a fixed mindset would be, I can't do it, I give up.
Yes.
And that's the end of that. A growth mindset would be like, oh, that was really hard, but I'm going to try again.
Wow.
So it's giving the children to be like, let's be honest, some things are going to be harder for some children than others. Some people are going to have natural talents in some things and others won't.
Even socialising.
Exactly.
That's right,
and it's teaching them that it's all right to keep trying again.
Yes.
And we also teach about what happens in the child's brain as well when these things are happening. So we talk about the connections in your brain, that every time you practice something they get stronger and stronger, and it's good not to just give up at the first hurdle. And if you like doing something and then you're not necessarily great at it to begin with, you can get better the more that you try. And I think as adults, a lot of the time we give up, don't we? I know I definitely have. When I've been growing up, I've thought.
Especially, I mean, I've had some experience with anxiety and depression, and when you're going into your anxious phases, that inner voice is
overwhelming.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is, that self-critical voice.
Oh, 100%, and that's what we'll talk about on Saturday. It's like, for some reason, the way our brains are, the negative voice always seems bigger than the positive, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Especially if your mood is low.
Absolutely.
That voice just seems a lot louder and a lot bigger.
That's right.
I always picture it in like capital letters and bold, whereas the positive voice seems to be smaller. But it's about listening to that one a little bit more and tuning into it.
That's right.
And almost battling the negative one and just saying, do you know what? That's not true. Actually, that thought saying I can't do it, that's not true. You can do it. It's just going to take a little bit longer, and we'll find other ways to try. So I'm 32, nearly 33, and I don't drive yet, and this is one of the things I use as an example. I've been trying to drive since I was 17.
Wow.
And I haven't given up yet, but it's not been easy, and it's definitely been part of my mental health.
Wow. You'll get there, though, won't you?
Do you know what? I'm trying again.
With that, again, it's about that mindset, isn't it?
It is, really, and that's why I'm always honest about it and use that as an example, because it is something I find really hard, but I'm still slowly but surely chipping away at it.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Takes bravery.
Yeah.
And, that's the key.
Yeah.
You're obviously a very brave person.
Oh, thank you.
Tell us a bit more about your own background then. Where does this come from? Because you're obviously a teacher. In fact, you've got a day job as well as all this other stuff going on.
So currently, my sister owns a nursery in Hoylake called the Mulberry Tree, and I'm the preschool leader of there and the Senko. But I'm going to change jobs soon and go into a new role as a family support worker, family engagement support worker, helping families in need and in crisis, which will be great. But my background is, as a child, I was kind of just really good at masking my emotions.
Right.
So everybody that meets me is like, oh, smiley, happy Jess. That was me as a kid. Yeah. But actually behind the smile, there was a lot more going on.
Sure.
And there wasn't anything in particular that was like a trauma that had happened that made me feel a certain way, but I just do think I had depression and anxiety at primary age.
You can inherit it, I think.
Yeah, and a lot of the time it is about the chemicals in your brain as well, and I didn't know anything about all that then, obviously.
Of course not.
So I pretended I was okay, and I wasn't. I used to write a lot when I was a kid, and I'd get really emotional when I'd come home after school and I'd write things down, which I've taken into adulthood.
I mean, as a practice you've taken into adulthood.
Yeah. So
that's
like,
really
if I struggle to talk about lows that I'm going through, because I do still struggle, even though I'm talking a lot more openly now, I struggle to practice what I preach. So
Yeah.
sometimes when I am having a dip or a low,
Yeah.
if I'm struggling to talk about it, I'll write it down. And I think that's something I always did when I was a child
That's
as well.
a massively important message,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a musician and a songwriter, and that's probably how I do it. You know.
Yeah. Without realising it
That's right.
sometimes.
Yeah, that's right. It's almost subconscious, but it takes you into a different place.
Yeah, definitely. So when I was
Takes
in
your focus
school,
off
yeah,
the bad stuff
100%.
and creativity. So whether it's writing music,
Yeah.
lyrics, poetry, creating something,
Yeah.
just taking your mind off,
It's expressing it
That's
in a
right,
different way, and we do teach that in Positivity Club as well. Like, if you don't want to talk about it, let's try something else. Let's paint it or draw it or write it down or do music and dance and things like that as well.
Right.
Drama.
That's right. So what was your journey from there then?
I was always a very sensitive child, I would say, and I am an empath. I worried a lot about what other people thought of me. Which is why I fell into the trap of putting the mask on, I think.
Yes.
And then as a teenager, it was just building up, and then all the hormones get thrown in, and it's trying to find what social group's right for you. And I went to an all-girls grammar school.
Oh, really?
I didn't want to go to.
That's interesting. I went to an all-boys grammar school.
Yeah.
I'm a lot older than you, obviously, so it was a bit more like more norm than it is now. Yeah.
Where I went to school, we did the 11 plus. Which is not
too,
something I really agree with now, but I passed mine by 1 mark and went to an all-girls grammar school, and I think because my self-esteem was already low, I always just felt like I was bottom of the class. Wow. But I loved things like English and drama because it was just, in drama I could pretend to be someone else for a little bit.
Wow, yeah.
And in English I could write.
Yeah.
And I loved writing stories and things like that, and that was like a release for me. So I found being in the old girls' school tricky. I wouldn't take anything back now because I've met some amazing people and I've still got really good friendships now. But I found it hard to get up and go to school every day. I didn't know who I was really and where I needed. I kind of flipped from different friendship groups and wasn't really sure who I was. And as I got older and went into sixth form, that was probably when I was at one of my lowest.
Right.
And then I did have a suicide attempt at that age, which I'm quite happy to talk about now. And I saw it as another chance when it didn't work, kind of thing. So, and that's why I talk about it now. I talk about it to my nephews. I talk about it in my teen group, which I'll tell you about in a minute.
Please,
It's something that we need to chat about, and it's something that I didn't talk about for a long time. And now I want to.
Yes.
And I know it'll help people if I do.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
The way things were then is heartbreaking, really, of how I was responded to in that time.
Yeah.
Of how could you do this to your family? Was it a cry for help? Did you just want attention? That kind of thing. And that was nowhere near on my radar. I was just snowed under with emotion and battling such negative thoughts all the time, and I just wanted out, really.
Wow.
The pain was too much and I wanted out. That's the way I can describe how I felt at that time, and I have spoken to other people in similar situations who actually completely agree with me with that. It was never a cry for help in my eyes. It was never to upset anyone else. It doesn't even, when you feel that low, that doesn't come into your mind. You just want to escape.
So you're just overwhelmed.
Yeah, you just want to escape. And when it didn't, obviously it didn't happen, so I got another chance.
Amazing.
Which is massive, yeah. And then I've kind of been up and down. And I think I've come to the realisation at this age now that my mental health will always be a struggle. But every time I get back up, it gets a little bit easier.
Fabulous.
And I know what to do, and I know what tools to access. Even though it still happens, and I've kind of accepted that I am going to have what the doctor calls as depressive episodes.
Yeah.
And I'll have months where I'm great and I'm really
Probably
confident,
just part
and
of
then
your
I'll
chemistry,
have
isn't it?
exactly.
That's right,
And then I'll have months where I'm just like find it hard to leave the house and feel really anxious again. So it's just being aware of it now. I've tried all sorts. I've had different medications. I've done counselling and things like that, and I've come to this point now where actually helping other people is like my therapy.
Yes, that's a lovely thing. That is a lovely thing to say. That's a great ethos.
Yeah, and when I'm talking to the children, I'm like, I tell them
fantastic.
about little Jess.
Yes.
About when I was younger and I felt a certain way. You can see them perk up and think, oh,
That's
I've thought
amazing.
that before, or Jess felt like that when she was younger. I'm not on my own.
That's amazing.
And there's a massive, what's the word I'm looking for? In knowing that you're not alone. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
It's just huge. And
confirmation, affirmation.
yeah, definitely.
It's so important, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And it's knowing who to talk to in those moments, because some people get it and other people might not get it yet.
But what an amazing difference of the climate now is around all this compared to when you went through your crisis.
Huge, yeah. Unfortunately, though, I have to say, I think there's still a lot of issues there.
Oh, undoubtedly, yeah.
There's a young person that I know who was treated similarly recently to how I was all those years ago, which hits hard, really, because... And I don't think it's anyone's even fault. I think the services are so overrun. I mean, we could talk about this, couldn't we? Till the cows come home. But like in A&E, and when you're in a stressful climate and you're going in with a mental health issue, if you physically can't see it, then people don't take you as seriously.
They don't know what to do with it. It's half the problem.
No, and you get sent home with a leaflet.
That's right.
That's it. And so what we're trying to do, and what other community projects are trying to do, is kind of like bridge the gap from what's missing.
Yeah.
Because yes, it's great that we talk about mental health more, brilliant, but those statistics aren't changing. In fact, they're getting worse. And it is. Yes, we're talking about it more, but are we doing enough? That's what I battle with sometimes, and it's like, could we be doing more? I think always. Yeah. But getting these conversations out there is just really, really important.
Yeah, definitely. So Positivity Club is for ages 3 to 11, but you've already told me, haven't you? You've got 3 groups running now. Yeah. That's amazing.
So going back to before, so I went, had a lot of struggles in my early 20s and through my teenage years. Made it through uni with some struggles, but I got there. And I went to a mental health coffee morning in my town where I live in Hoylake. And it was called Time to Talk Day, and it was all about opening up over a cup of tea, basically, and starting the mental health conversations and ending the stigma. And it was Time to Talk Day, which is a big charity. And I did talk for the first time, I think, openly with a group of complete strangers, which I found easier. And they got it, and they felt like me. And something I'd always wanted to do, but I'd not made myself do it yet, was go and teach English in Thailand. So, weirdly, what happened was that day I felt so good after letting everything out. I literally got on the train over to Liverpool and booked my flights. Yeah.
How's that for manifestation?
Yeah.
So you actually...
So I did it, yeah.
That's
and I
incredible.
went on my own.
How long were you over there for?
It was just over a year.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I've been to Thailand.
Yeah, it wasn't easy, don't get me wrong.
I'm sure it probably wasn't, no.
I think a lot of people in my inner circle were like, oh, she keeps saying she's going to do it. She's not going to go. She's not going to go. And I said that to myself a little bit. But then I did it. And it's one of the best things, one of the hardest things, and one of the best things I've ever done.
Oh, fabulous.
I went to teach English over there in a Thai school. No, I did go to Bangkok. I was in Chiang Rai up in the north.
Yeah, in the mountains.
Yeah, right up in the mountains.
I always wanted to go there.
Yeah, so did a lot of travelling on my own.
That takes a heck of a lot of bravery. Yeah,
that was huge. That was massive. And there was times where I thought, I literally was like, what am I doing? I need to go home. But I managed it. I pulled it off, and it's definitely made me stronger.
That's incredible.
Definitely made me stronger. But look at the power of having that conversation that morning. That actually gave me the kick up the bum to get on the train and go and book it.
Astonishing. So that was time for tea or time to talk?
Yes, so that was Time to Talk Day.
Time to Talk Day,
so that inspired me to go and do my travelling, and then it also inspired me to start my own adult mental health support group, which is Time for Tea.
Time for Tea.
And that runs monthly at the moment in Hoylake as well, in the community centre there. And it's every second Thursday of the month, 6:30 to 8:30. And it is a gorgeous group. We have a laugh, we have a cry. We get it all out in the open.
Fantastic.
We've had some really great guest speakers that have done a share and told us about their experiences with mental health and how they've come out the other side. And the main thing I love about it is the support that the members do for each other. I'm really busy, and sometimes I can't always be there for everyone all the time. Sure. The support they give each other is just unbelievable. Even in the WhatsApp group that we've got, if someone's struggling, they have to put a few words in the WhatsApp group, and the support is unbelievable. Or there's always someone saying, should we go for a walk? Do you want me to come round for a cup of tea? Or should we do something now? And it is a really great outlet, and we've had a range of different people come, and we've had real positive impacts that we've made. So it's great.
Nice one. So that brings us then to Time for Teens. Yes, another group that you've instigated. Tell us a bit about that, please, Jess.
I started Time for Teens in a local cafe, Quirky Cafe, which is a great cafe in Hoylake, which does a lot of community events. And it was the lady there really that gave me the inspiration to do it. Really, she was like, "Come on, you can do it. Even though it's lockdown, you can still start your teen group." So we did a support group just as I started Positivity Club, but it was more for teenagers to come and have a safe space and talk about their mental health if they wanted to.
Sure.
But we made it fun and laid back, and we just wanted it to be like a youth club, but with that opportunity. If you wanted to talk about your mental health, then you've always got someone, and if we can't help you, then we'd always signpost to other agencies and services as well.
Sure.
Which was great.
Guest speakers
again.
Yeah,
we got loads of guest speakers in. We had all sorts. So we had like a guy that came in and did a drumming workshop. That was really good.
Amazing! Yeah.
And then we had a DJ called Navos, so my friend Lena, she come home from London and she moved back to the Wirral after 13 years. I think she was there, and she worked in the music business there, and she had her struggles with her mental health within that music industry.
Sure.
And she's brought a lot of experience and knowledge from that end, and we were actually best friends when we were teenagers, so she was a great person to be like, right, let's do this together.
Fantastic.
And it took us back to when we were younger and things that we were struggling with then as well, and tell the teens that we're now working with that this is what we found hard, and actually you guys have got a lot more challenges. You've got the likes of social media.
That's right.
You've got all sorts of other things going on. So let's make mental health a normal conversation, something we can chat about. Where you might not get the chance in school. We don't know what schools are really doing in this area at the moment.
Sure.
I mean, I think sometimes it's the odd PSHE lesson, which some of the teenagers have openly said to me it was just a bit of a DOS. We just we don't really do much in that lesson. So making sure these conversations are going ahead again, and teaching them ways to express themselves. So when the DJ came in, it was a contact of Lena's from London, and he's actually from St Helens.
Okay, right, yeah, that's cool.
And he come in, and one of his songs was They Knew It. So dance music is not really my thing. I'm an old soul. I like my Motown and soul, and indie. But he offered to come in with his videographer guy, and they did interviews, and it was hilarious actually, because the kids had all written questions and put them in a jar, and he was to pick out the questions and answer some of the questions that came out were hilarious. Do you like beans on toast? I think was one of the questions.
Which is it's important to know.
Just to let you know, he did. Yeah.
I'm in the beans on toast club as well. Amazing.
So yeah, they absolutely love that, and there is talk of him coming back to make a song with them as well.
Fantastic. That's
great. So we're relaunching Time for Teens in a new venue, which will be Activity for All, which is a great space.
Okay. And when's that happening then? When's that relaunch happening then?
It's Friday the 24th of March.
Okay, cool.
And it's going to be every Friday.
Oh, you're doing a weekly thing there?
Yeah, so it'll be weekly every Friday, because we noticed that Fridays there's not much else going on.
Yes.
So when we spoke to the guys from Activity for All, they were actually, it's a really good time to come.
Excellent.
And it might be a time where teenagers are usually hanging around on the bikes on streets and stuff. So it's like, let's get them in and have a nice time. So it's going to be great there, Activity for All, because we have our own wellbeing hub, which is separate. So it's a unit, Activity for All.
Fabulous.
And inside the unit, there's all climbing ropes, and there's footy pitches and stuff. So that's being a win-win with the teens already. That we'll have that whenever we want it. And also we'll have a hub which is completely separate, where we can do the quieter
one-to-ones maybe, or
and the talking kind of scenarios, and then if we do have guest speakers, that would be perfect to come in there as well.
Well, that's kind of a collaboration you're talking about there. And although you've been working with this project now for coming up 3 years this year, it'll be, won't it? You've only just registered the CIC, so you've got all the track record there, which is fabulous. But what about funding? Because that's really important. Isn't it,
so this is the world I'm just about to delve into.
Course,
really. I've struggled with the CIC, to be honest with you. Imposter syndrome is a thing, and it's real for me.
Talk about it.
Yeah, we'll do.
Wow.
I've had many times where I've been disheartened or just being like, oh, maybe this is too big for me, maybe I can't do it, and that's that mindset battle again. And then I'll have times where I feel a lot more confident. So again, it just depends on what my mindset's like at the time, and it's taken me a while to realise, did we want to do CIC, did we want to go for charity? Charity side definitely did feel too big.
It is a big step
at the moment, and it is always something that we might end up in the long run going into. So CIC felt like the right option in the end. And after a few years, a couple of years, we finally got registered. So we are really looking forward to getting some funding, because we have been doing it all on our own.
Well, you've had no funding to date.
Yeah, we've been self-funding.
You've been completely self-funding this whole programme.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just so full of admiration.
Oh,
and as far as imposter syndrome is concerned, I can't think of anybody better qualified to be doing what you're doing, because you've lived it and you've walked the walk.
Yeah.
So, you should be there telling people about this.
It is massive, and I just
stuff.
think I need to just remind myself of that sometimes.
Absolutely right. So, but in the short term, though, we mentioned that kind of collaboration you've got with Time for Teens there, and that's something that really works, doesn't it? Have you done any other examples of that?
Yeah, so I'm one of those people and I will collaborate with as many people as I can. And I love working with other people, especially if they've got the same passion as I have for mental health, because we just get each other, and it just works really well. And if you're after the same goal, then why not work together?
Yes.
I've always been a great believer in that, and I think there is other things similar to what I do popping up, and people have said, "Oh, you're worried about the competition," and I say no. I'm not worried at all, because let's help as many kids as we can and help as many adults as we can.
Yeah, that's right. There's always room for a good one.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of work to be done. We can't just do it on our own.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There's a lot that can be done by collaborating, and I've worked with Break the Mould, CIC, La Vida Liverpool magazine, and the Good Hood in West Kirby, and there's a company called Wish Upon a Party who does like character
Wish Upon a Party.
Wish Upon a Party.
Oh my word!
So we started a collaboration called the Good All Good in the Hood, and it was about nominating local children to come to a party that we organised.
Fantastic.
So children could be nominated for overcoming adversity or overcoming challenges. We had siblings of children that were really poorly that were nominated because they've been such good help. We had a lot of children with additional needs were nominated as well. And so we had the original party was in the summer. We had a DJ. They had a little mocktail on arrival. I did the Positivity Club games. We had like a photo booth, and they absolutely loved it. And then we did a Christmas one as well.
Fantastic.
Which was brilliant. So hopefully we'll be doing an Easter event as well, and it's all about like nominating unsung heroes, basically, but young people in our community, and giving them the treat that they deserve.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've collaborated with Wirral Health Project to do helpful hampers at Christmas time.
Oh, fabulous!
For older hay, and for families that were struggling at the time. So any collaborations that come along, I'm always happy to go with it, really.
Yeah, I believe you're a bit of a golf fan as well.
Absolutely not.
However,
it might be in a few months' time.
What's going on there then?
So the Open's coming to Hoylake, isn't it? The golf
it is,
Open, which I do not know anything about golf. Disclaimer. So I've met up with a lovely lady who was doing a golf project and wanted to get Time for Teens involved. So we've talked about, which will be hilarious, how in the rugby they have the hacker dance.
They have
as
the
like
hacker.
A welcome,
New Zealand
like
has the hacker
routine. So we want to create something
for the golfers.
For the golf. Well, the project wants to. So Time for Teens are getting involved, and I think the Hive in Birkenhead, siblings at Clare House are getting involved as well.
Amazing.
So we're all going to get together at Claremont School and perform like a welcoming routine.
Fabulous.
Per se. So I'll let you know how we're getting.
Please do.
On with that.
Can't wait. Well, what a full life you've got.
Yeah.
But you need funding, don't you? So the message out there really is, isn't it? Come on, you know.
I also I've done mental health fairs as well. Well, I've done one this year, so I'll keep you posted on any more of those.
Please do,
the Wirral. It's just a great opportunity to signpost all the amazing people that are out there. All pulling together to kind of bridge the gap really in mental health at the moment. And there is so many coming up that it's just nice to have everyone in one room. So if you are struggling, or you know someone who's struggling, they can come in and even just pick up a leaflet, or even just get a number that you can contact. It could come in really handy.
That's amazing.
In those moments of need.
Yeah. Well done, you know.
Thanks.
My word. Any other events that are coming up that you need to flag up?
So Time for Tea, the next one will be on Thursday the 9th
Yes,
of March.
yes.
So that's the adult support group.
Yes, absolutely.
Positivity Club runs every Saturday.
Every Saturday.
Term time.
Yeah.
So that's every Saturday, and we're on social media as well if you need to find us.
So what are your social handles then?
Positivity Club CIC on Facebook, and then
Yeah.
I think it's just Positivity Club with Jess on Instagram.
Cool.
I haven't got a Twitter yet.
And no website yet?
Yeah, have
no
you got
website?
no.
We have,
Website's
yeah,
in
we've
the
got
making.
all.
Yeah,
of it,
I need to get on board with Twitter. That's my next challenge. I'll ask the teens to help me with it because they know more about it than I do.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Give them a project.
Yeah, definitely.
No, it's been great. It's great to meet you, Jess.
You too.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me.
No, you're very welcome. And let's keep in touch, like
Yeah,
you're saying.
definitely.
Keep us posted on what's going on.
Definitely.
And let's try and get the message out there. Get some money in to help you doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff.
Brilliant.
So,
Thanks for having me.
yeah, you're very welcome. So it's been a wonderful session today with Jess Trigg from Positivity Club CIC. I'll try and get that out. And I've been your host today. I'm Phil Beale. This has been the Liverpool Community Podcast at Big Condo Studios. And for now, we're signing off.